appreciate you taking the time out to hear the word today. We're on YouTube on Sundays. And then we will also be on YouTube on Wednesdays also, starting in 2 weeks. We pray this word will be a blessing to you, encourage your heart. If you do Bible, please raise your hand so you can follow along with us today, brother. I'm not going to be too long today. I just want to talk to you. I have something I want to say that I believe the Lord has placed in my heart. I heard you. Like, preach. Sometimes you need to be encouraged to preach. Amen. Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 and 27. We're just going to use two portions of text today. Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 and 27. If he backed me up, I might preach. I don't know, he'd be sleeping over there and stuff. Making a preacher struggle. I can't even get I can get like one something might happen. They're bringing an organ player. Rent an organ. Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 and 27. If you have it, can you say amen? And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him, male and female created he them. God created man in his own image. Go with me to Psalms chapter 8. Psalms chapter 8, verses 4 through 6. And we can start at verse 3. Psalms chapter 8. When you have it, can you say amen? When I consider thy heavens, the work of thy fingers, the moon and the stars which thou hast ordained, what is man that thou art mindful of him, and son of man that thou visitest him? For thou hast made him a little lower than the angels, and hast crowned him with glory and honor. Thou madest him to have dominion over the works of thy hands. Thou hast put all things under his feet. The Lord gave me a title today as a dual title. Lord, why did you make me this way? Lord, why did you make me this way? Subtitle, created in his image. Let's go before the Lord in prayer. Father God, in the name of Jesus, we bless you. We love you and we honor you this morning for everything. Now send your word. Send your word with understanding. Send your word with power. Send your word, oh God, with a way that's able to change us. So we go out different. So we go out, oh God, rejuvenated, refreshed. We give you praise and glory in Jesus' name. Oftentimes we struggle throughout the week or throughout the month with issues of life. And some issues can be continuous, like a long term. And they can begin to drain you to where you figure this issue is going to be with me always. It reminds me of, of the commercial where the lady has depression and the elephants following her around, and they are advertising this pill for your depression. And you take the pill and it has like multiple side effects. But the one thing it doesn't do, it doesn't get rid of the elephant. She walks around a little bit better, but the elephant's still right there. And what that is they're training us to realize, to make us think that whatever issue we're dealing with is going to always be with us. Even in marriages, people figure, well, this is just where it's going to be. And they'll just have a bad marriage for 20 years when they don't really have to. And I'm not saying leave. That's not the point I'm making. I'm saying fix it. People will have bad finances for a long period of time. They think, well, I'm just going to live poor. You don't have to live poor. I mean, there's in all areas of life, there's a way to develop because that's how God made us. When I thought about this text last night, I was just praying. I was trying to preach a different message, but God kept dealing with me about his creation, about his greatness. And then he said, this is why I made you the way I made you. He started talking to me about how the psalmist and Paul and all these guys, he says, when I consider the heavens and the works of thy fingers, the moon and the stars which thou hast ordained, in verse 3 in Psalm chapter 8, you have to think about the fact that he's considering it from his perspective. Meaning where we are today, we've developed to the place where we are able to see galaxies upon galaxies. We see solar systems that they never saw before. We see things like atoms. They never saw atoms and neutrons. They didn't have microscopes. We've seen the depth of creation in a way that those that wrote these texts could not even comprehend. Yet in their expression, they understood the wonder of God. And God said, if they can understand my wonder thousands of years ago, how much more should we understand the wonder of God? They didn't understand how the cells operated in the body. We have machines that God has given us the wisdom to be able to create, to be able to look inside of our body, see our blood vessels, to see the millions of cells that are operating, to understand how the food works in our body, how it makes our blood pressure rise or go down. All the different things that we've learned, the technologies, we've been able to go down to the very depths of the ocean and see fish and things like that. They didn't see any of this. But yet they were able to say, when I consider the heavens and the works of thy fingers, they can only consider from what they could see. And God says, I'm an awesome God. I'm an awesome creator. You have not even experienced the greatness of God. I think we get caught up in the minutia of life. We can get to where we're like in this bubble. We're in a Facebook bubble. And what's so bad about it is even Facebook keep you in a Facebook bubble. Like there are people that are putting really good videos on Facebook, but you don't see them because they have you locked into the only people that you talk to, that's it. And you will never see any other videos coming your way. And there could be astronomers, there could be people that are creating new businesses. You never know about it because you're in this bubble. And that's how it is with life. God has created things around us that we don't even know about unless we investigate. And one of the things I'm glad about myself, as I've gotten older, I've got to a place where I read. I didn't read when I was in school. I just want to be candid. I didn't really read. I was already, I don't want to pat myself on the back. Well, do it anyway. I was already smart. You know how some kids, they're smart to the point of what they're being taught. I mean, they don't really have to study because they're not really challenging you. They just say, study this. I mean, you learn it in 5 minutes, and then that's it. With me, I never brought books home. I never had to do homework. I could do the homework right there after class. I'll pass all my tests. I got good grades, A's and B's, because I was never really challenged. So I never really read. But as I got older and I wanted to know more about life, I began to read a lot. I used to read National Geographic, all kinds of different books, and I was like, wow, why didn't they teach this to us in school? There is so much that we didn't learn, or maybe it's because I just didn't read. Maybe they were teaching it, and I was not, I wasn't digging in. But as I've gotten older, I began to read and study and research, and I realized the vastness of God, the vastness of the creation of the globe, and the vastness of humanity, how God has made us. We get too sidetracked with color. That's as far as we go with humanity. Oh, you're black, you're white, you're fat, you're tall, you're skinny, and that's the your eyes are blue, your hair. We have such a surface understanding or connection with one another that we do not go beyond that state and look at how God has literally created us, created our minds to be able to do almost anything. I heard someone say one time, if God wanted us to fly, he would give us wings. No, that's not true. Just because he didn't give us wings didn't mean he did not want us to fly. So even though an eagle can fly very high, an eagle can't go into outer space. And even though a whale can stay underwater for a long period of time, a whale can't go to the top of the Alps. We have the ability to do everything that animals can do. Why? Because God has given us dominion over the earth. We have the ability to plant and to grow and to develop and to learn. I mean, this is what God wants and expects of us. But I think that we're stuck. Look at the text here. He says, when I consider thy heavens and the works of thy fingers, the moon and the stars, what thou hast ordained, what is man that thou art mindful of him? Who are we in the sight of God? The scripture says that God has made us a little lower than the angels. And when we look at the text in the Hebrew, that word angel is not actually angel, it's the word Elohim. The word Elohim means God. God has made us a little lower than God. It doesn't mean he's made us lower than angels, because angels can't do what we do. They don't have the ability to operate on the planet like we. He did not give angels dominion over the earth. He gave man dominion over the earth. Angels are here to minister to us, to our needs. We're not here to minister to angels' needs. They are subject to us. They are subject to God. He made us a little lower than God. We're not God. We cannot create out of nothing, but we can take what God gives us and we can make something from that. We have creative power. We have the ability to do way more than we give ourselves credit to. And so that's the point God's trying to drive home today. One of the young ladies that's a daughter of ours, her name is Nina Potts. She lives in Philadelphia. Let me get my phone because I want to read this, because this is what really first prompted my heart a couple days ago. She has a shirt line, and on this particular shirt, I never saw this. My wife wears the shirt all the time because it's a picture of her face. And you know how people do, they have a shirt that has a picture of their face. You can't really see that. But inside the picture, it literally has things that she's gone through. And she has on the shirt, hard pressed on every side, but never crushed. And I started thinking about that. And the next thing it says, created in his image. And then it goes on and says, he's pressed on, and so will I. And the last thing she says is, there, let not my will be done, but your will be done. And as I kept looking at this, I said, you know, Lord, the reason why we can be hard pressed on every side and not crush is because of the way that you created us. We are created in such a way that we're able to weather storms. I mean, withering storms come through and destroy, but yet we still bounce back. Volcanoes and earthquakes destroy, but yet we still bounce back. There are famines and all kinds of sicknesses that have destroyed millions of people at one time. Smallpox and all the different things that happen, but yet humanity bounces back. Humanity is able to weather the storm and go through every situation in life that God puts upon us because he made us that way. But I think today, the way that we're living, because we have progressed so far and we have been so blessed that we forget about the fact that no matter what's happening in your life, God has made you in such a way that you're able to deal with it. You are able to handle it. All you have to do is stop long enough and ask God for the answer, and God will show you the way. God will give you the answer, and you will come out on the other side all right. We have given in to a mindset of defeat. Anytime there's an obstacle in our way, we somehow feel like the obstacle is greater than we are. There is no obstacle that's greater than we are because we are created in the image of God. There is no God that can defeat God because there is no other God. There is nothing greater than God, and we're right under God. So there is nothing that's created that's greater than we are other than God. No animal, no lion. Oh, yeah, so the lion can run real fast. That's all right. I'll just jump in my dragster. I'll just jump into my little hoopty, and I'll outrun the lion. We've been able to create things that makes us greater than everything else that's ever been created. Even the venom that a snake can bite you with, we've been able to create antidotes. There is nothing in this world that's been created that's greater than we are. There is no circumstance that you are faced with that's greater than you are. That's why the text says it this way. There's no temptation that has come against you that's not common to man. But in it, God has given you a way of escape. What is he talking about? God already knows what you can handle because you might not be developed to the stage yet to handle something greater. But whatever God allows to come your way, you are able to handle it because God created you with the ability to handle all things. You know, I often look at, these videos. I just look at crazy stuff. You'll have to pray for me. Not sinful stuff. When I say crazy stuff, I mean like people jumping in the water in Alaska. I'm like really? It's like I can hardly get in the shower unless it's like really got to be the right temperature. That's a little bit too cold, you got to turn the heat up a little bit, But you out there in the Arctic, jumping in, cutting a hole in the ice and jumping in. I'm like, really? If a person can do that, that lets us know that we have the ability to do whatever we put our mind to do. And what God is trying to say to us is that, listen, don't downplay who you are in God. Don't downplay the fact that God made you. You did not make yourself. And that's the point that the prophetic word was trying to say. I'm a great God. I'm a great king. Look at everything I created. And of all the things I've created, I'm really mindful of you more than all of those things. I created you in a way that's so profound that even the angels are looking at you going, man, I can't. What did you do? How did you do that? How did you make man like that? No, we can't walk through the wall. I know you that's the next thing. We can't walk through the wall. No, we can't walk through the wall because we're on the earth. We can't walk through the wall yet. But when we get translated and get our new body, we'll be able to walk through the wall. Jesus walked right through the wall. And so we'll have a body just like his. That body that transcends the natural, the buildings, the physical. We'll have that in the end. But right now, we have all that we need to live on this earth right now. We look at the challenges that we face when it comes to sickness. It's probably the biggest thing right now that seems to be scaring everybody to death. Oh, I'm going to get sick. Oh, I'm going to get sick. Oh, I'm going to get sick. I'm going to get sick. And so my question, my thought is, so what? We've always gotten sick. We've been getting sick since we were kids. It's amazing how we forget that. At least I did. I don't know. Maybe you never got sick in your life. But all throughout my whole life, I've gotten sick. I've, sprained my ankle. Thank God I didn't break my arm or anything, but my brothers did. And all type of things have always happened to us all down through life. But guess what? God's always been right there healing us. Even when we weren't saved, it's just the dynamics of how this world operates, how this world works. Humanity, we get sick, we get healed. We get sick, we get healed. Then, by chance, if you get sick and you die, that's the will of God. Because God is the one that gives life and death. You can stand out in front of a truck and get hit, and if the Lord don't want you to die, you just be crippled. Doesn't mean you're going to die. You can get shot. People have gotten shot 6 times in the abdomen. They still lived because it wasn't time for them to die. There are people that just got a cut on their foot and died. There's all kinds of different things that happen, but we have to understand that no matter what's coming our way in life, God has made us in such a way that we're able to handle it and deal with it. And this is the mindset that God wants us to have. He wants us to have a mindset of victory, complete and absolute victory at all times. It doesn't matter the challenge, we win. No matter how hard it is, we're going to overcome it. You hear this type of talk all the time. It's motivational talk, motivational speaking. It just comes from the Word of God. That's all it is. The only thing they're leaving out is Jesus. Jesus is the one that makes us the overcomer. But the principle is that God has created us in such a way that it's very difficult for us to lose. You almost have to make yourself lose. Seriously. You have to not do nothing not to make it. People that are on the streets as bums are on the street as bums because they decide not to do anything. They decide to give up just to, Don't give up on God because he won't give. That's for everybody. People that decide to give up, that's why they're on the streets. People that decide to do things the wrong way get certain results. But just because you do things the wrong way and get a certain result doesn't mean you can't turn it around. I'm a clear example of that. Yeah, I did drugs for a lot of years. I got to where I was a bum on the street. Completely bound, completely a crackhead, all the terms everybody wanted to use. Completely shunned by everybody. Sleeping on the bench, the bus go by, all that. But just because that is what I was at that time doesn't mean I needed to stay that way. But at the time, I thought it was hopeless. But when I met my bishop, he's like, no, you're created in God's image. You're God's son. God said you can do all things through Christ. And God began to change my life. I didn't do anything different but come to God and begin to make a decision that, yes, I can, versus I can't. Oh, forget it then. All that, well, just forget it then. You were just hurting yourself. You're not hurting anybody else. Because other people are thriving. Other people are pressing in. Other people are succeeding. Other people are growing in all kind of areas. I was talking to my son not too long ago, and he was saying, well, I'm so hungry. I just need something to eat. I said, then cook something. He said, I don't know how to cook. I said, that's not no excuse. Nobody don't know how to cook. Learn how to cook. I just never cooked. You ain't that old. You was a kid till 20. Your parents cooked for you. Of course you don't know how to cook. Then in your 20s, you didn't do but eat pizza and chicken wings and all that kind of stuff, so you didn't cook. But now you're in your 30s. Now it's time to learn. Go get your chopping board. Buy you a knife. You got YouTube. You really don't have no excuse. You don't even have to read a book nowadays. Just pop it on YouTube. Chop. Oh, onions, a little bit of salt. Okay, how do I do? I mean, everything is there for us. There is no reason in the world that we should not be successful in every single area of our life. God has designed us this way. He's allowed our society to progress to where we are today. We didn't get to where we are today by accident, by happen chance. God allowed this person to learn something, and that person to build on that, and that person to build on that. I was talking to my wife about Elon Musk, and I was talking to my broker. I was laughing. Because I said, that stock is going to soar. And so, well, everybody's not going to buy a Tesla. Maybe not, but he's sending people to the moon. His vision is grand. He's one of the first people that had astronauts that go up into the space station and come back and land right on the pad. They didn't crash in the water. They landed like a plane. Everybody thought that was, you're never going to be able to do that. I remember 5 years ago when he was talking about, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Sure enough, went up there, stayed 4 months, came on back, landed on a plane. What is he doing? He's setting it up so everybody else can go in space. I'm like, sign me up. And she's like, no. I'm like, I want to explore. Yeah, I would like to see the stars. I would like to see the heaven. I probably won't. Maybe it might happen in my lifetime. But listen, you're young. Why not have a mindset that says, listen, I want to grow. I want to explore. I want to expand. It is God that has created us like this. It's God that has given us kind of mindset to be able to go beyond where we are right now today in every area of your life. We are created in His image. And the only way you can see the greatness of God is when you look at His creation. Showing my wife a picture. My sister lives up in Bellingham, Washington. I was like, man, look at this tree. The tree is 1,000 years old. It's like, the trunk is probably like that. I said, imagine a God that can create a tree that lives 1,000 years or more. If God can create a tree to live 1,000 years, it doesn't have to do anything but stay in that one spot. The Lord sends the water that it needs. The Lord sends the nutrients that it needs. The Lord protects the trunk against all the bugs and the birds and everything that's chipping away at it. It just stays right there. All the storms, all the struggles, it just stays right there. The roots go down further and further. It breaks through rocks and gravel and it stays sturdy for 1,000 years. You've been here 30 years and you think you're done. I'm 35 and then I'm 42. Like, really? 42 years old? You're just barely getting grown. You're not even really grown yet. Trying to get people to run stuff that are 30 and 40. Y'all don't even know nothing. Even at 60, I'm learning. So, brother, my sons are like, Dad, you just don't know. Listen, I know way more than you. I know more than you, one, because I'm older and I keep learning. You stopping at 30. I'm 60 and still learning. So from 30 to 60, I've been constantly learning, and I'm at 60, and I'm tripling my learning capacity. And so this is what God expects of us. He expects us to grow in the knowledge of Him. The knowledge of Him is everything that's around us. Everything around us is about God. You're in the healthcare field, right? You probably learned all kinds of stuff you never knew before. Probably seen things you ain't never seen before. And you just getting started. Who knows, you might end up being a doctor. Be working on me and stuff. Like, cut right there. Don't miss that vein now, okay? It's like, hold still. I had the girl do my blood test, and she was just missing it and everything. I was like, whoa. And the guy was sitting over there. I was like, why are you sitting there? He says, I'm watching her. She's a trainee. I'm like, she needs more training. So he took it out and got on his arm, and he did it. And I didn't feel anything, but she was like, I was like, oh, you know. But she's trying to learn. I understand. It's different than, letting a kid practice on your hair, That's a little bit different, This is what God is saying to us. We're made in his image. Why did he make us this way? He made us this way so that we can have dominion over everything that he made. Everything. We have the power. I lived a life of defeat and victory, sort of combination. Like, I knew I could do all things, but I allowed myself to get subject to. I allowed myself to be caught up in habits. And when you get stuck on drugs, it's a stronghold. So it stopped me from really succeeding to the level that I believed that I could succeed at. Even though I was succeeding, I was losing at the same time. So even though I was building, I was still messing up. So I'm building a business. I'm trying to make millions. At the same time, I'm spending millions on drugs. So as much as I tried to strive to succeed, I was doing the opposite and destroying myself, destroying my life. But now, all of you that are sitting here, you're not doing things to destroy your life. The only thing you have going for you is you're doing everything to succeed. You're doing everything to thrive. And so what you have to do is say, I have the power and the authority over everything that God has given me, and he's given me the whole world. Whether I want to do science, whether I want to do astronomy, or whether I want to do mechanics, engineering, it doesn't matter. You have the ability to do all of that. Because everything that we look at, God made it. Let us make man in our image. And so he made man in his image. I realized that when Jesus came down to the earth, he could have put on some other kind of body. But he didn't. He put on a human body. Because there are bodies celestial, there's bodies terrestrial. That's what 1 Corinthians chapter 15 tells us. Bodies of a fish, bodies of an animal, bodies of a bird, bodies of an angel. But he put on bodies of a body of humanity, which made him made him human, but right below the divine, because he needed to be an example for us. And what he did, he came and he showed us how he had power over everything else. He had power over physical things. And I've actually seen God do this. He had power over sickness, which was something that came against the physical. He cursed the fig tree, and the next day the fig tree died. He had power over the elements. He said, peace be still, stop the storm. He had power over death. He raised a boy that was in the funeral. He was in the casket. He had power over his emotions. Like, people hated him, but he loved them. And all of these things he did to show us this is how you're supposed to be. This is how you're supposed to live in the world. You are just a little lower than the divine, but you have the authority over everything. And I began to think about my life, and I thought about all the different things that God allowed me to experience. I experienced a young man dying, the Lord raising him. I experienced people being desperately sick and God working a miracle. I never stopped the sun or caused it to rain, but I've heard of other people who have. Matter of fact, our own Minister Ricky, when he gave me that testimony, I knew that was God, because that's how God works. I experienced God hearing my thoughts and answering my prayers before I prayed. I experienced God touching other people's hearts and having them give to me and giving me favor. I experienced people coming against me and spitting on me and stabbing me in my back, but I still love them because of the power of God. And so I understand what God is trying to say to us. And I'm trying to express it to you to let you know that you are greater than you realize you are. Whatever you're dealing with, whatever issue you feel is holding you back, stop thinking that way. There is literally nothing holding you back. There is nothing stopping you in any area of your life. So, I have my wife. I love my wife. Hallelujah. It's better to live in a house with a good relationship than it don't work. When you're in a real tense relationship, it's very difficult. That's to say the least. But it hasn't always been where it's not tense. Hasn't always been where we didn't argue. We don't argue now. This is 25 years later. There are people that are newly saved or newly married that you have to know in your mind that this is not too difficult. Nothing's too difficult. There's nothing that's too difficult. If you have a new job and your boss is just getting on your nerve, and you're just like, I just can't take it no more. Stop saying that. What you mean you can't? I can't take it no more. Who told you that? You're built in a way to take anything. Should I say this? I got to say it. Slavery was harsh. But the Lord allowed it so that we could be here. For us to be trying to act like we in slavery is ridiculous. Because we're not experiencing any of the hardship that they had to go through that God allowed them to take for us to be here and have the freedoms and liberties that we have. This nation is a culmination of every culture in the world. You go to some nations like Saudi Arabia, that's all there is there. There's not a whole bunch of everybody. You go to China, it's Chinese people. It's not everybody. Everybody ain't there. This nation has everybody here. Some people got here on a ship. The Asians got here before us. They were the slaves first. The Europeans got here by ship. They suffered through the struggles and the winds and the sicknesses. We got here by ship. We were brought over here as slaves. Lots of people have got here for all different kind of reasons, but all the people that got here had the ability to develop this country. All the different cultures, all the different colors, all the different languages were able to communicate with one another and to be able to stand and weather the trials and the tribulations, to be able to develop and to establish what we are standing on right now. We're standing on the shoulders of great men and women that have gone through more than we've ever gone through. But you're saying, I can't take it, my boss. I just can't take it no more. We say stuff like that because it's a misunderstanding of who we are. We are so blessed. We tap into the spiritual realm. When we pray in tongues, devils get mad. Demons tremble. When we walk in the room, the atmosphere changes. Not just because of the physical, but because of the spiritual. We have something more, the way God has made us. He's created us in his image. When God comes in a room, things happen. When we come in a room, things happen. But you have to know who you are. Look at this, Psalms chapter 8. Lord, why did you make me this way? What is man that thou art mindful of him? Verse 4. But we're able to tap into the sun and use that power. It's called solar energy. What is man that art you're mindful of him? Man is the greatest creation of all. Put your hand on the shoulder of your person next to you. Come on, put your hand on. Let him know. So you can slide over there and touch him. He's right here down here. You ain't that old. Come on, you ain't but 32. Tell him you're the greatest creation of all. You're the greatest creation of all. Come on, say it to your wife. Come on, y'all can say it to her. You better say it to her. She needs to hear it 100. You're the greatest creation of all. You're the greatest creation of God. That should make you feel good. People are trying to talk you down, talking to you. You ain't this, you ain't that. Listen, I'm the greatest creation of God. Well, you just think you all, yeah, I am all that. I'm the greatest creation of God. There's nothing that God has created greater than mankind. No insect, no animal, no bird. What is man? The greatest creation of God. You have made him a little lower than God. That word angels in the Hebrew is Elohim. There's nowhere in the Bible where the word Elohim means angel. It means God. You're a little bit lower than God. You've crowned him with glory and honor. God honors us. We show forth the glory of God. When God looks down upon you, he smiles. He smiles on you as his creator. He may not smile on you everything you do. Well, God ain't smiling at me. Yes, he is. Even when you do wrong, God is looking at you. Oh, look at my son. He's messing up it again. He's still proud of you. You're his creation. We do this tit-tat. Oh, God likes me now because I'm doing good. God don't like me now because I'm doing wrong. God likes me now because I'm doing good. God loves you. Period. You're the greatest creation he ever made. That's why he hates abortion. Killing God's creation. Talking about ain't no baby. Yes, it is. He breathed right in the womb. Boom. Baby born. After that, it's murder. Anything after that is murder. And if a person's done it and you've asked for forgiveness, then amen. God's forgiven you. Don't feel bad about it because I'm talking about it. Just make sure you tell everybody else you know, listen, don't do it, honey. Don't do it. Don't do it. What you're holding is the greatest creation of God. God is mindful of his creation. He's looking down at America saying, listen, y'all messing with my creation. You a boy. No, you're not a girl. Don't mess with the greatest creation of God. Why have you made me to have dominion over all the works of your hands. Don't let anything stop you. Don't let anything make you think that you cannot. One of the most important aspects of being saved is hearing God speak to you and encourage you and let you know, I got your back. I made you. You can handle it. I'm going to bring you out of it. It's not God saying he's not going to let you get into trouble. It's not God saving you from every situation. That's not walking with God. Walking with God is God bringing you through every struggle. All through the Old Testament, that's all we see. It's Adam's fault. He shouldn't have messed up. But since he did, we have trouble. One thing God said, this is your curse. You're going to survive by the sweat of your brow. The ground's going to be hard. That means life is going to be hard. That word ground is talking about life. The sweat of your brow means it's going to take effort. Before, Adam's life was effortless. He just wake up. He didn't have to get no water hose. Well, I know we got electric sprinklers now, but back in my day, you had to get the water hose and drag it and be watering the grass. You know, see, young folks don't know nothing about that. You got to pull the water hose way over there and water the grass. You got to water every bush. You know, your parents be like, water the grass. Like, I don't want to water the grass. Listen, water the grass. You can't ride your bicycle. If you take off on your bike, when you come back to take the tires off. So now you're stuck. You got to water the grass. That's 20 minutes. It's like, you know. See, the technology has improved. Thank God. You know, the sprinklers come on automatically, go off on their own. We have power. We have victory. We have the ability to do all things and do all things well. Whatever you're working on, you have the power to do it well. If you're raising kids by yourself, you can do it and you can do it well. My granddaughter made a decision to go back to school. I was like, yes. She has 2 kids. Then the next week she made a decision, I'm going back to work. And I'm going to go to school. I'm like, yes. You have the power to do everything. Everything. And it doesn't matter what it is. You got, in your mind, you got to start thinking, what is it? What are the things I have decided I can't do, and I lay them to the side? Go back and pick them up. What are those things that you're saying you can't succeed at? Go back and pick them up. You have the power and the ability because you're made in God's image. Let's give the Lord a hand praise for his word this morning. Lord, we bless you today. We thank you, Lord God, for creating us in your image, making us like God. I said I wasn't going to be long. Mr. Valerie, I'm going to preach one day, but right now my mind has really been on just talking to the people about what God is saying to me. I'm seeing so much in people's lives, and I shake my head and I think, we're saved. We don't have to submit to anything other than God. That's it. We don't have to follow any crowd. We're not subject to things that happen to other people. We're independent in the eyes of God. And whatever God says to us as an individual, that's what God's going to do. If God said he's going to protect you, he's going to protect you. If God said he's going to bless you, he's going to bless you. If God tells you not to do that because if you do, I'm going to do this, God's going to do exactly what he said he's going to do. You can act like you didn't hear him and go do it anyway and then be all surprised when God does what he said. God's going to do what he said. Because he loves us. And no one can stop that. Not even you. You can't stop God loving you. No height, no depth, no. you run away from him, he loves you so much he's just going chasing you. You know how you do your kids? They try to talk back and stuff. It's like, I love you. Pow, pow, pow. They don't go, they be skipping school. Come here. I don't think kids skip school at 4, though. In first grade, skipping school and stuff. It's an altar call.